So welcome friends to this 3-day faculty development program or a faculty workshop on development journalism organized by uh, Press Club Kolkata in collaboration with Unicef Office for West Bengal. As you must be knowing, we started this program a few years ago with the help of Unicef Rajasthan in universities and colleges in Rajasthan. And we developed a curriculum for faculty and also for the media personnel. This is just a logical step forward from there, where we talk about various issues of development and development journalism. And thanks to technology, there are so many other new things that have come up over the last 3-4 years. When we began 4 or 5 years ago in Rajasthan, we didn't have the advantage of artificial intelligence, for example, or even concepts like modular journalism, which we are introducing at the media training workshop just from this particular session. So we had planned to start this at least 2 months before, but thanks to the Greek letter Omicron, we got a little delayed, and that's because we had the entire package ready right from the faculty. So the logical way is we start with this faculty development workshop, which is a 3-day workshop, and then we have 3 different student workshop sessions across different colleges and universities in Bengal. And then we have the media training workshops, which will hopefully be offline, in person. I request colleagues to keep your sound muted. Thank you so much. So this is something that, as I said, is related to so many new developments that have taken place in the field. And what better way than to start off with a kind of a training of trainers workshop addressed by some of the most prominent resource persons across the country, right from the first speaker is a very distinguished speaker from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, and then we have a session on storytelling, another on fact checking, and still another on artificial intelligence in journalism and different facets of development journalism. So without taking much of your time, I have the pleasure of inviting Ms. Suchorita Bardhan, who is the communication specialist, UNICEF Office for West Bengal. And without her personal interest and without her personal devotion to this kind of a mission that we've begun, I mean, I very deliberately use the word mission because this wouldn't have been possible without the full involvement of people like Ms. Suchorita Bardhan. And right from the hours and hours of brainstorming that we have behind the scenes and to deciding on the best possible ways in which we can have discussions on development journalism, we are extremely happy and privileged to have put this together. And I have the honor of inviting Ms. Suchorita Bardhan for the inaugural speech.
Thank you, Professor Shankar Pandey. Excuse us if we call him USP. That's how we are accustomed. I am extremely happy that we could arrive at today. This has been a coveted passion which has been realized. And I would like to trace back a little beyond Rajasthan, where we initiated the whole thing in Assam. Currently, with the Press Club Kolkata, under the leadership of Mr. Snehasis, which by now everybody, I mean, he's so popular, I don't need another line to introduce him. And of course, our USP, whose USP is speed. So therefore, I have no other choice but to be in inertia, retain the momentum that we had once dreamed of in Assam, where we looked at understanding how development journalism or reporting on social issues, on development issues, can be made evidence-based. It can be both at the same time, look at credible reporting at the same time, also be appealing. It's a long journey. It's a long journey. It traversed various states. But interestingly, in Rajasthan, we were able to also bring in several of our professors, our vice-chancellors, our director generals, one who is already sitting, former Director General IMC, who is actually, we're very lucky to have him every time we call him, even when he was in Delhi and right now as Vice-Chancellor, Makhanlal Chaturvedi University too. I cannot also but not acknowledge Professor Mrinal Chatterjee, who has been with us throughout our journey from the start in Rajasthan and through the course. The purpose was not only to have a one-off session, have a one-time brainstorming and kind of formulate something. No, what we did is we did an assessment of whether development journalism needs the kind of time that we are expecting is required for students in the curriculum. We tried to understand what the pedagogy would be. We tried to see what other thematic areas that could be looked at, but also practically be fitted into your curriculum. I would say that 4 years is not a short period of time. And through the entire period, the professors that I mentioned right now and beyond, they are all going to be part of the session, leading those sessions. They have all been part of our program mostly. And I think what we've been able to achieve is the kind of passion that we have for reporting on issues that usually is not really taken up easily by people. Politics, crime, any other issues, including page 3, sports, yes. But looking at why undernutrition or malnutrition still persists and why children in a certain area are still anemic, and what could be one story of an Anganwadi worker who has done enormous amount of work and been innovative about it, so much so that the next born is healthy for the mother. There are more people who are getting to know about it, and all of that in a report, in a news report. You will be happy to know that this development journalism initiative that we've started has been planned for faculties, for students, and for media professionals, as USP already mentioned. And in each of the process, we've had those kinds of specialists who have participated in each of the cohorts to try and give us their maximum input and participation and finalize the documents, also throwing light on how we need to make it also dynamic. As USP mentioned, we've been moving with the age, with the times, including contemporary times, looking at the pandemic. We were the first to look at risk reporting. I remember we also had a lot of brainstorming on what it would be called, what is risk reporting, and how it would be interpreted, and what it would entail. So I think it has been a fairly long journey. My return to Kolkata, I've come back to Kolkata after 12 years. This is my home state. This initiative that is seeing so many people participate in a big way is probably a reward that I have been able to gift myself, along with all the colleagues who have made it possible. And when I say that they make it possible, I would like you to know that this is beyond our office hours. This is beyond anything. I mean, you will not imagine the kind of hours that we keep when we are either working on it, whether it is the curriculum or whether it is the design, or whether it is or how do we kind of get to this learning module, or where Professor KG Suresh and Professor Mrinal Chatterjee and others have also been part of, which we had started as media fellowships, just to see whether what we are trying to practice here, and accordingly faculties are trying to practice with the students, and when they are passing out, whether we are able to kind of look at the kind of stories that people want to read about. People do not usually get an opportunity to read about stories which are not so interesting, but made so appealing and so effective that even policy decisions are changed. The district collector or district magistrates call upon reporters to kind of look at the story once again and, note that and make a policy change. We've had stories filed by reporters. We've looked at mentor-mentee programs. We've seen how the fellowships have grown. We have seen how media capacity building has been done. We have seen how the pre-testing of the first phase of pre-testing for students over, I think, 15 days, if I'm not mistaken, if I can recall from my memory, across India, actually. We had planned it for Rajasthan, but we had requests coming in from across India, and we tried to accommodate as much as we could with the budget that we had. So we are looking now at trying to roll this out with and through the universities, maybe on a one-on-one or regionally, and we'll come to that later. Maybe I will also reach out to many people individually to figure out. And then there are our stalwarts who are present here, who will also give us guidance on how maybe they would like to kind of share additional information on the ones that we have, or look at a plan of rolling it out elsewhere too. I must, before I conclude, I must say that I am extremely grateful to so many of you. 62 is what I'm seeing, 62 minus a couple of us, even if I say 50, at this hour, being here, so intent on wanting to know what we are going to roll out. Thank you so much. And I really look forward to feedback at the end of the session. We will be sharing that feedback form with you, because, and please share your very critical, open, frank feedback so that we can develop and from your inputs. And I'd like to also mention that I am available for any inputs that any one of you may have. And we are on a learning process, and our purpose is very simple. In order to make what we want to do, in order to realize our dream, we need three pillars. We need the faculties, we need the students, and we need media professionals. And in order to do that, we will go all the way, we will walk all along in trying to ensure how evidence-based responsible reporting can be done. Thank you so
much. Thank you, Ms. Bardhan. I mean, nobody could have put it better than you. And as I keep on saying that the entire team shares the same passion and the same vision as well. And we've been able to put out a lot of tangible resources, as you said, be it in terms of data sets, or be it in terms of audiovisual content, or be it in terms of other things that we keep on putting out. And one person who has always supported us and who shares the same vision and passion is none other than the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of the Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Journalism and Communication, also the President of Global Media Education Council, a renowned journalist, columnist, and a communication specialist, who has been Director General of IMC, as Ms. Suchorita Bardhan just mentioned, and also an emeritus professor at the APJ Institute of Mass Communication. He's been a senior consulting editor with Doordarshan News, and an editorial consultant with Asianet News Network, chief political correspondent with Press Trust of India, and group media advisor to the Dalmia Bharat Enterprises. He's also a member of the Academic Council of the Jawaharlal Nehru University, the Society of Satyajit Film and Television Institute of India, and the Research Committee of the Indian Council of Social Science Research. As you can understand, there are so many things that I can go on talking about Professor Suresh, but we would rather hear from him. So over to you, sir, and thank you again for all your support and guidance.
Thank you, USP. Very good evening to all of you. Greetings from Asia's first and India's largest media university and the beautiful lake city of Bhopal. What a pleasure seeing so many friends. When I see Suchorita, I am reminded of another person, Kiran Bedi, who was in traffic police. So she hauled up the Prime Minister's vehicle. Then she was sent to Tihar jail. She turned it into a reformatory. Then, she was sent as Lieutenant Governor. So you send her to Rajasthan, she will make the deserts bloom. Send her to Kolkata and she will do magic. So, and I've been part of that journey. So I know that how dynamic. Now I knew the moment, she informed me that she is now shifting to Kolkata. I knew that now Kolkata is going to be a different place altogether, and I'm really so delighted to be part of this. And because, that UNICEF, that fellowships that you are talking about, Suchorita, come to think of it, two of the fellows that whom we had selected, Rakesh Goswami is now professor and regional director at the Northern Regional Campus of IIMC. And Tabina has just been appointed adjunct professor at the Hardev Joshi National University of Journalism. Now, I mean, this is the kind of level at which we, the kind of people whom we selected. So what a pleasure. And of course, Snehasis, who has been my colleague at DD News, and my former colleague, Mrinal, so happy to see so many friends, this evening, as you rightly point out, on a weekend working day at 7 p.m. This shows only their commitment, kind of. And this is perhaps the most conducive time to launch this course, the recent Indian nomination to the Oscar is a documentary on the newspaper run from the Bundelkhand region, which is which straddles across Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. There you have Khabar Lehriya, run by women, and that has been nominated to the Oscars this year. So it shows the importance of development communication today, as never before. Well, Snehasis knows that, in this country, we have put all the onus of development reporting only on Doordarshan, or the public broadcaster, so to say. And except for a handful of newspapers, who were actually like the Hindu, for example, or to some extent the Indian Express, or Telegraph, or some papers, mostly English and some Hindi, development journalism is increasingly, we find it getting very reduced space in media. The courses have also, there is one course in Jamia. We had got the approval for one course when we had turned it in, we had got the letter of intent to make it deemed to be university. Mrinal was part of that exercise, but unfortunately, I hope now it takes off. We had taken even approval from the UGC for 4 courses, including one in, public health communication, because IMC was the first institution when I was there to introduce public health communication, that's evidence-based reporting that you are taking, in collaboration with Oxford University and others. But development communication is something that should not be confined to a Jamia or an IIMC. It has to, actually we have to train. For me, I do not know the, details of the course that you have drafted. I'm sure with people like, USP and Snehasis and Mrinal there, I'm sure you would have come with a very good model, and it would unravel itself in the coming days. But I would be happy that if this course is not confined just to students, but also to practicing journalists at the grassroots, because they have not been. And that is why I wish to share with you here that at Makhanlal in our Riva campus, we, which is in the a little backward Bagelkhand region of the state, we have started a first of its kind rural journalism course from this academic session. I have introduced that course. Now this rural journalism, we have on the board people like, Nilesh Mishra of Gaon Connection and all that. We have brought them together, and we have got the National Institute of Rural Development also. I see Akansha Shukla here. She's from there. She's also in our board of studies. So we have formulated, and that course has taken off very well. I mean, students have enrolled, and our whole idea is to create an army of rural communicators. That is the whole idea. Now, the whole idea is that who understand the villages, who understands the rural pockets. And when I talk about development journalism, it's not just rural areas. It's not just agriculture. It's not just, it's also about the cities, the suburbs. It's also about, all the rehabilitation areas. The focus is on rehabilitation, the major projects, the displaced persons. I mean, you have so many issues which are related to development, issues arising out of development, major displacements taking place because of huge projects coming up. As we embark on a path of rapid industrialization, you have, a lot of huge road networks coming in, a huge possession of airports coming in, and land being acquired in a big way. Now, these are all issues which have to be dealt with. And then, of course, the basic issues, like you were referring to, Anganwadi workers, what's happening when it comes to primary health centers, PHCs, what is happening to basic education. Now, the national education policy is in place. So I believe that it is important that there's a whole new, thanks to the digital technology, the advent of digital technology, you have a whole new, breed of young journalists who are out there with their mobile phones, with their smartphones, but they lack training. They have the, instinct in them, the killer instinct in them, but what they lack is training. And this is where I think that the development journalism program, we should, as we did with the pulse polio program long back, we have to, make it, a very localized approach, wherein we bring in, organizations, media organizations, we bring in the district administrations, we involve them, and we ensure that all of us come together to impart this training to the grassroots level journalist who is working there, who should be, and equally important, I must say, is that this is what we did with that public health communication course also. Take the editors on board. This is very important, because no amount of training that journalists at the grassroots level will work if the editor is not sensitized to this, if the editor is not brought on board. It's very important that we have to interact with them. We have to enter into a dialogue with them, wherein we invite the editors of the local editions, at the district level editions, and tell them that the importance of development communication, how they should make it part and parcel of their content. That's very important. And the third is that we create the independent, the digital media persons who have their own YouTubes, their blogs and all that. Let us encourage them that today they are just focusing on politics. They are just focusing on, let us try to divert their attention that yes, politics you have to do business stories for your, two ends to meet, but this is also important. They have to be made stakeholders, in this entire thing, because unless you do that, because today majority of the people, because we have survey after survey which suggests that a lot of majority of people now, even in the rural areas, smartphone has become the symbol of the aspirational Indian. And everybody from the domestic help to the rickshaw puller to the street vendor, everybody aspires for a smartphone. And what does he watch on that? What is the kind of content that he watches? Can I provide him content on that related to development communication, about his rights, about his the various options which are available to him? It's all about that how can he has so many, today government has so many welfare schemes. Where does he stand in terms of benefiting from that? Is he aware of the right to information? Is he or she aware of the right to education? How do we empower them? That should be the focus of the development journalism, how to empower the people at the grassroots level. And of course all of it has to be based on evidence-based journalism, which has been the focus area. So I believe that this is a very, very important initiative which UNICEF has taken up, because I've been closely working. Even once I landed in Madhya Pradesh, the first thing among the first meetings was not with the political leaders, but I called up the UNICEF representative. Anil Gulati is here. I called him up. I said, you come over, let's discuss. Today we are into partnership. Every month we are having 2 to 3 programs. We are a major, in fact, the UNICEF head for Madhya Pradesh, she's from Africa. She came to our campus. She was so happy with the work that was being done. We are training journalists. We are training journalists at the grassroots level on issues like child rights. Our students are being trained on child rights. Now these are things that we actually don't tell our students in our day-to-day conversations. We are generally discuss politics, we generally discuss economics, we generally discuss sports stories, entertainment, Bollywood, all that. But these issues, so development journalism has to become a movement. Once upon a time, we really had a lot of development journalism stories which were there. But today what is happening is that, it's become more of I would say that symbolic. It's more symbolic than substantive. That substance is missing. You have 1 or 2 units which will talk about it, but you don't have, substantive, because the teachers are not trained. And I think that this is the right step, as USP has said, TOTs, training of the trainer. That's very important. And I do not know the entire framework or how you have structured it. I'm sure with all the eminent people out here, it must have been a great exercise and you would have come with a great one. But I can only assure you that India's biggest university in media is with you on this. Any kind of help in terms of faculty support, in terms of research support, we are there with you, in this. And we will be happy to take it forward, even in Madhya Pradesh. I do not know how it works out, but yes, they say that niyat honi chahiye, the intent should be good. Our intent is, good. Our intent is there. We want to take it forward, and we will be happy to collaborate even in this, taking this project, because this is the need of the hour. Because what we see today, particularly, and these are my last few thoughts because the time is limited. This is the inaugural program, I know, because the kind of revolution, technological revolution that we are seeing today, so much of emphasis is on technology. I keep saying it in every possible forum, that I sometimes feel that we are grooming technocrats and not journalists. The entire focus is so much on technology, not on content. And in the content, what is the content that we are talking about? We are talking about politics, we are talking about entertainment, we are talking about adventure, we are talking about travel, we are talking about food, we are talking about everything except development. And I think that is something that should not be missed out. That's too important to be missed out. And I'm happy that, as is always the case, has always been the case, UNICEF has taken this very important step. And once again, a big salute to you, Suchorita, for being the change maker, as always. And of course, the Press Club of Kolkata with Snehasis as its dynamic leader, and somebody so committed to research like Dr. USP, who is now part of our university in so many capacities. So pleasure being here. Thank you, and wish you the very best for the success of this program. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, as always, it's been so inspiring and so motivating, and it just supports, that we share this same vision and passion, because a lot of the things that you said is what we've been discussing over the years, and especially, about empowering and our district reporters with skills and easily accessible, inexpensive tools. And that's what we hope to do in days to come.
And in the language that they understand.
Yes.
That's also important. That's why we gave a major push to, language journalism. That's very important. So in and you should even do it. I mean, recently we celebrated 21 February, the International Mother Languages Day. I mean, it should be even in the dialects, Boliyon mein, like what Shubhranshu is doing in Chhattisgarh, in Gondi, I mean, we should be doing, I think that in that also. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. Fortunately, many of us are trilinguals or more, so we can manage with different parts of Bengal as well. Thank you again. And as I said, this would not have been possible without the absolute academic support of the highest order of our Honorable President, Press Club Kolkata, because pun intended, press clubs all over the country are more known for their highly spiritual discussions, and an academic intervention of this sort is possible only because our Honorable President himself is highly accomplished in academics, and he takes keen interest in ensuring that we provide things to the highest order. So whatever you've been seeing in its polished format is because of the support and guidance of the Honorable President, Press Club Kolkata. He's been my teacher, 96-98 MA batch, University of Calcutta. I have the honor of inviting Mr. Snehasis to deliver his address.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. At the outset, I'll just beg 2 to 3 minutes from Professor Rai. I know he's very, very particular about all this, but I'm sorry. Respected Professor K.G. Suresh, Honorable Vice-Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaturvedi National University of Communication, Journalism and Communication, respected Suchorita Bardhan, our Unicef communication specialist, and you know what she is on development communication, and Dr. Shankar Pandey, project director, and 2 eminent professors who are today's main speakers. They're already on board. Professor Amit Shobhan Roy of Jawaharlal Nehru University, who is an internationally reputed development economist and professor. He has taught in various esteemed institutions, educational institutions. He has worked in international institutions. So he has both the knowledge, experience of both the sectors, the institutional sectors, the international economic institutions, and the best places of training. And Professor Mrinal Chatterjee, the regional director of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, Odisha or Eastern India campus, as you would say, who has also been a working journalist, and he understands both the sectors. Well, all the previous speakers have made my job easier. So thanking Suchorita Bardhan or thanking Shankar Pandey, I think it is done, so I'll not do it. Professor K.G. Suresh, who himself has been a very senior and very well-reputed journalist who headed the political bureau of PTI. So one-sided, it's fair and balanced, and other-sided, it's the agency speed and a national reputed agency. Competitions were there at that time. So obviously we know he is of having a highest professional skill. He has been in Doordarshan also. He has been in various other media organizations, and he has at the helm of affairs of the country's oldest media training institute, Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and the country's oldest journalism university. Incidentally, I also represent the oldest press club of the entire subcontinent. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the thing is, Press Club Kolkata has a mandate of upgrading the standard of journalism, and this cannot be done without thinking of the future scribes, budding scribes. That's why our target is also media students. And to train media students, obviously, we require the support of the faculties. I'm grateful to all the participants first, that you are distinguished teaching faculty of various universities and colleges. You have thought of coming here. It's a sharing of experiences, thinking. So resources are putting together. Yes, we are very serious. That's why we are doing it. So thank you, participants. Thank you, Professor Suresh. And thank you, Suchorita. Thank you, USP. And now you see, once I start speaking, I go to the general addresses as I'm accustomed in doing. I'm grateful to Professor Ray and Professor Chatterjee. Yes, I have been associated of this project in Assam, Rajasthan, and now I'm one of the part of the implementing agency. We believe in uplifting the standard of journalism, and that's why first faculties, then students, and then obviously in district level journalists. This is our target. And the UNICEF has also started a dialogue, as Sir has referred to, with the editors. Press Club was not directly involved, but obviously, yes, Press Club does all sorts of activities. So that is it, because for a cause, we are in a common cause. And we are thankful for your support for something to do better. The development is the in thing. We need to understand development. We need to report development. We are for the cause of finding a space in mainstream media and alternative media for people for development. And for that, we would like to have a concerted effort, a skilled effort. Obviously, skill is not the only thing, the content. We'll try to do it. We seek all your cooperation in all our future such an activities. This international organization of high repute with the oldest press club, and now we have the oldest university, but going towards newer things. I think with the serious effort of all of us, we'll be able to do something better for the future. Development is the motto. We all like development, but we need to interpret development, and we are in that process. Thank you very much I'm a big thank on behalf of the press club that you have made this possible, and you are giving this status to the press club by joining, by participating, that yes, we are on the same board. There is no difference between academics and profession. We are together for a common cause. Thank you very much.